All right, welcome back everybody to another episode of Time is Honey. I'm gonna just throw up a little video here what I'm doing here today. So I'm setting up a bee yard today. Well, starting the process of setting up a bee yard. And first things first, I got the gear in today for the client. The client purchased the gear, and I'm gonna set up their bee yard out here in the country where we live and help them get their ag exemption. What I'm doing, prepping their gear, and this is one of the things when I was talking to the client about all this, the importance of preventive maintenance on your gear, right? And they were just out here talking with me and stuff. We were looking over the county ag exemptions, what's required, and it's a mess. It's really, the county wants to micromanage every damn aspect of this operation, right? What kind of bees do you have? Are they mean? Are they aggressive? How much drones do you have? Yet I don't see the county out here helping me prep the gear, right? Funny. So anyways, what I'm going to talk about here is this learning process I'm going through with helping people set up bee yards in the county where I live and get their ag exemptions. First of all, it's work. Okay, it's work. I enjoy doing it. It's Sunday. It's Easter Sunday today. I don't mind being out here on Easter Sunday. I really don't. As you can see, it's overcast, a little gray. Weather's a little funky, but either way, I don't care. I'm out here doing bee work. I do this for the bees at the end of the day. The honey, yeah, that's the byproduct of the bees, but without the bees, the honey doesn't exist, right? So I'm happy to do this. I really am. I enjoy the process of beekeeping. I enjoy helping people get their yards set up. And I'm hoping what we can do here, where we're at, is raise up a new generation of beekeepers, right? Because we all know we're not going to live forever, man. It's a solid fact of life, man. We're going to pay taxes, and we're going to die. That's a solid fact of life. You know that, I know that, we know that. Nobody is exempt from those two facts of life, right? Unless you're some shady, crummy pastor and you're going to dodge taxes, right? Unless you're some creepy that's going to scam the government, right? So this side here. Yeah, this whole thing. And the thing is, okay, that's where I was going. I kind of lost train of thought too. Tax exemptions, right, for beekeeping here in Hill Country, Texas, depending on what county you're in. Okay, whether you're Medina or Bandera. Okay, the tax exemptions are going to vary. You need to get with the county appraisal district. Okay, that's what you need to do. You got to get with the county appraisal district, and you got to talk to them. There's a lady you can talk to at both districts. Just go and talk to them, get the information about bees, okay, and find out what the requirements are. For Bandera, it's a little bit different. For Medina, it's different. So keep that in mind, okay? Tax exemptions are going to be different. The property I'm at now is in both counties. So dealing with this is new territory, right? I'm learning how to do tax exemptions. I'm helping people get their yard set up. And what I would recommend, right, if you're going to help somebody set up their yard, okay, because here's what's happening with what's going on. This is where I'm at here. And I love doing this. I really do. If somebody wants you to keep bees on their property, okay, I would recommend what you do is have them buy the gear, okay? Have them buy the gear. You do all the prep work. You go with the knowledge. You set up the yard, all that stuff. But they buy the gear because this is their gear, right? It's their bees. You get the bees on the property. You work them, right? And you come up to some agreement, and that's mutual for whatever you feel is right, and you go with it, right? I still got to write up some service agreements here for these because we all want to be on the same page, right? So I'm gonna have to write up beekeeping agreements, service agreements, things like that. because at the end of the day too, the county's going to want to know what's been going on and how these bees have been being kept, right? So that's real important when you're doing that kind of thing. Keep that in mind. It's work to set up a yard like this. Okay, I'm getting gear ready for 3 boxes, and what you see, I'm on my 5th frame in my first box. Okay, and I've been doing it for probably about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. So it takes a few minutes per frame, which I don't mind doing, right? So just keep that in mind, okay? This stuff does take work, right? Sitting here burning these frames, I don't mind it. I enjoy it. I do. So 1, I'm a closet pyro, and 2, it's healthy for the bees. This is only going to help the bees at the end of the day when you're burning the boxes like this. So you scorch them up. You know, my client's out here, and she was just watching. She's like, God, that is so cool. And I know there's some people out there like, you know, I'm going to try doing that. And you know what? This is actually therapy for me. Sitting out here just burning these, because I don't have to do shit else. I just sit here, focus on what I'm doing with the wood, and watching the flame burn the wood, man. That's it. And I know what it's for. I know that burning this wood here is going to make my bees happy and healthy. And what will bees that are happy and healthy do? They'll produce you good honey, right? Do everything the preventative maintenance side, the bees will do the rest, man. Yeah, they require our interaction. Sometimes they don't, like they don't in the wild, but if you do the preventative maintenance as a beekeeper to get your gear started, it'll really pay off in the end. So yeah, just kind of burn these, check it. Burn them up like that. Burn the sides, get them up underneath right there. Get all the corners real good. Burn them. You guys can see them. Sides real good. Here. It can be a little bit awkward doing these frames sometimes too, you know. But what I'm feeling, all the gear here is from Texas Bee Supply, and what I can tell, this wood's really wet still. So this is ultimately helping dry the wood too, getting some of the moisture out of it, right? Seal up the pores in it, because this wood's wet. It's super wet. So it starts drying here in the Texas sun, the stuff starts warping. So this is kind of helping mitigate some of that moisture too. What this will also do, burning the wood, is it will help mitigate moisture in your box if you get it, right? So you don't want moisture in your box, right? Especially when it's cold. It's not the cold that kills bees, it's the moisture, right? So this will help mitigate some of that moisture too. It's not going to take it all out, but it's definitely going to help get rid of some of that moisture in your box if there's an excess, okay? Like I said, it's not going to get rid of it all. You can tell by how slow the wood's burning that it's wet too. If it was dry wood, it'd be burning a lot quicker. You can see. And what I also got to do, this is just kind of phase 1 of getting this yard set up, getting all the wood scorched and getting the frames prepped and everything. And this is what I do with my gear. That's what I told my client I'm going to do with her gear. Once I'm done, I'll see if the client will do a walk around. I'm going to do a walk around her yard and show everybody in the Texas Hill Country what a primo pollinator habitat looks like. This client has set their whole property up as one giant pollinating habitat. It's incredible. When I got here and saw everything they were doing, I was like, yes, this is it. These are the type of people that we want in the beekeeping community, because these type of people are educators about what to do, on how to set up a very effective pollinating habitat. All these plants right back here, these are all pollinating plants right here. Every single one of these, monarch butterflies, bees, every single one of them. They are deer resistant, and they're annuals, perennials. So this client has put flowers on their property, all native, right, to Texas. I can't remember the seed farm they got them from. When we do the walk around, I'll ask what they got them from a seed farm here in Texas somewhere. I think they got them from Comfort, Texas, or something like that. I can't remember. But they got the seeds here. They've done a very good job at pollinating their entire property the proper way too. Xeriscape some of it, but then what they did is the whole back side of this property here is basically all wildflowers. This whole property is going to be amazing. It really is. Like the property is actually, it's registered as a pollinator habitat here in the county, from what I understand. So certain places in Texas, if you go about it right, you can actually get your property listed as a pollinating site. So it doesn't even have to be that big either. It's just you have to have a certain amount of plants, I think. But I'll look up the requirements and get that to everybody, because I think that'd be kind of beneficial, you know, to people, knowing what kind of plants to pollinate here in Texas, you know, what kind to put on your property, which ones are the best for the animals, which ones are deer resistant, which ones are animal resistant, because one thing you got to worry about here in Texas is deer, pigs. You got to worry about all that stuff, okay? I know in other parts of the country too you got to worry about deer, right? But here in Texas, deer fucking eat everything. So you got to keep that in mind. Yeah, this one's real wet. You can tell. Super wet. So I figured scorching frames, each one takes me about 3 to 5 minutes or so, give or take. Depending on how wet the wood is again. If the wood's real wet, it takes about 5 minutes. It's alright. And I actually learned this from Hillbilly Beekeeping. Big shout out to Hillbilly Beekeeping, Bob Walker Bee Ranch, Kodiak Farm, all you boys up north in Canada. Brian out of Colorado. Who else we got out there I think of right now? Got the guy down in Jamaica, Kauai. Is that what he is? The guy down in Jamaica, what's up? I haven't been in the beekeeping community for a bit, guys. Been busy. Figured this is the best time I could do a video here now. Is when I'm sitting here just burning frames and thinking about the bees. Speaking of bees, one of the ladies from our beekeeping group out here where we live, her bees just got poisoned recently. We don't know how, but people are no doubt trying to poison the thistle out here because it's invasive. Yes, we get that. Okay, but the only way to really kill thistle is to pull it and burn it. The poison doesn't work, man. The poison doesn't work. Just pull the thistle and burn it, alright? I also found out from the same person that another person out in Boerne, Texas, out off Highway 474, lost all their bees because of poison. So people are out there poisoning shit right now, and people are losing bees. And whether you guys are aware of it or not, that are out there poisoning plants, but hey, you know what you're doing? You're killing your honey supply too. So keep that in mind. Next time you go out spraying a bunch of poison on thistle, just pull it. Don't be lazy. Just get some gloves on and pull it, okay? I know it's work. Yeah, it's work. Just pull it, all right? It'll be better for everyone. So, yeah, kind of bummed out about that, man. Went out to her bees a few days ago and they're all dead. Even the ones coming out of even the ones that were hatching out were dead. She's like, I'm devastated. I'm completely devastated by it. And I would be too, man. I'm worried right now. I'm under the impression that my bees are gonna get poisoned now because we're kind of close in proximity, our yards. I don't want to say we're super close, but that's something I didn't think about, is people out there poisoning their crops, right? Poisoning thistle and whatever invasive plants they have right now, and the bees are getting into it, bringing it back and wiping out colonies at a time, man. So there's people out here in the hill country, Texas right now that are losing bees because people are poisoning thistle. And it's most likely they're out there poisoning thistle right now, because that's what's starting to bloom out. People hate thistle, it's invasive. It's a pollinating plant. The bees pollinate it, but people poison the shit out of it, and the bees eat it, and the bees die. So, big shout out to you. You know who you are. I'm sorry you lost your bees, man. That other dude out there in the Bernie area, Bernie, Texas. I saw your post on Facebook, man. That's a super bomb, dude. What we need to do, man, we live in an agriculture county. We need to make some kind of committee where it's, you know, that people are aware, like, hey, just don't spray this time of year when the plants are starting to pollinate. Let's use our brains here, people, right? Let's use our brains here. Let's not go out and spray a bunch of poison when the bees are out pollinating. Come on, man. Common sense, man. Common sense here. Common sense goes a long way. I mean, to go out and spray, I mean, I wonder if people actually think, like, hey, I'm going to go out and spray, even though I see all these bees out here working and pollinating my plants right now, I'm going to go ahead and just lay out all this poison. Go kill a bunch of bees right now. I'm going to go ahead and kill somebody's colony. Whether they know they're doing it or not, I don't know, but common sense goes a long way here. The whole hill country, Texas is pretty much ag zoned, right? So you would think, right? You would think that it being ag zoned, there would be a little bit more protection on how they go about doing beekeeping out here, and with regards to laying out poison and stuff like that, right? Poison, and I mean all kinds, herbicides, pesticides, whatever you want to call it, fungicides, whatever the hell the bees are going to eat, okay? You would think that there would be more oversight, I guess, you know? But you can't fix stupid sometimes. You can't fix stupid. If more people were aware that these bees are actually out there pollinating your food, maybe they'd be a little bit more aware. I don't know. What I was just talking to my client about, though, too. She comes out, she says, I'm doing this for the bees, man. Doing this for the bees. And I was like, I am too. That's why I'm sitting out here burning these frames for you right now, is because I want your bees healthy. I want your bees happy. And I was like, they'll do the rest. They'll bring us honey when they're happy and healthy. Let them do that. But let's get their gear. Let's help them a little bit by doing this. Every little bit helps. Like, I'm picking up this wood and it's wet. It's wet. What's the one thing you don't want in a bee box? Moisture, right? Taking all the moisture out of the wood right now. I mean, it's still wet, but for the most part, once you burn it up like this, that moisture's coming out. Like, I honestly wish you guys could feel it. It's like it's wet to the touch. So, it's not bad. They're using good wood, but it's not dry. So I'm on frame 8 now of box 1. I still got to I'm gonna have to come back and paint. I'll have to come back and paint the boxes because these white boxes attract wax moths. So I'm gonna come back and paint them. I got a nice kind of sandy color, like a rose sandy. It's gonna be real nice against the backyard where this client lives, actually. I got it on sale at a hardware store on the Mist Tint Rack. And what kind of paint is it? It's Easy Care semi-gloss exterior. It's latex semi-gloss, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Pay 25 bucks a gallon. Pay 25 bucks for the gallon, and that gallon will last me. I had a half a gallon last me numerous boxes. I had a half a gallon last me, let's see, 4 deeps or 4 10 frames and 4 8 frames. So a half a gallon of paint will last you go a long way. And these ones are already primed, so that's kind of nice. I'll just have to do a coat or two over them, because I don't want these white. These are going to get changed. That's what my mentor told me. Big shout out to my mentor John and his wife Charlotte too, by the way. Thanks guys for teaching me all. You guys are learning me right now. They might be out working bees today. I don't know if they are or not, but if they are, hope you guys had a good day working your bees. Now, talking to John in this, back to the property taxes and stuff, I had a real good talk with him about this yesterday. On how to do something like this. And, he says, Rich, he says, make sure you get paid for your work, right? Definitely, right? Don't do the work for free, right? Because this is work, right? I'm happy to help people get their gear set up and everything. But remember, time, you want to be paid for your time, okay? I'll be out here a couple hours, which I don't mind. I'm not going to tell you what I'm being paid, because that's nobody's business. That's between me and the client. But it's a fair deal. It's a fair deal. It's not to the point where I'm going to be breaking the client, and I'm not going to be breaking myself, coming out here, setting up gear, wasting gas or anything like that. It's a fair deal. That's why I urge everybody, right? You want to have your client, if you're going to set gear on their yard and they want the exemption, okay? Your client buys the gear, all right? They buy the gear. They buy it. It's their gear. It's their exemption. It's their gear, okay? Because beekeepers don't last forever, right? And this is where I'm at with it. Eventually, I'm going to have to train another beekeeper, right? And it's most likely going to be a veteran, that I'll have to train another beekeeper to come up here and handle these bees eventually, right? So now that the gear is set here, it's the landowner's gear, right? The gear, if I can't keep the bees anymore, well, guess what? We can bring in another beekeeper, right? We can pass the torch off to another beekeeper, and they can continue the tradition of keeping the bees, right, on the property for the client. So that's kind of the plan that I have in my head. That's kind of where it's at right now, is getting veterans involved out here. So if there's any veterans in the Hill Country, Texas that are interested in beekeeping, get with me on the channel, man. Get with me on the channel. We can pair you up, or if you've never done beekeeping and you want to get into it and you don't have the land, or you don't know how to get started, let us know, man. We'll help you. We already have a group started out here in the Hill Country. Would love to have anybody on for that matter, veteran or not, It's starting with veterans, and we would like anybody that's veteran affiliated, even, public service for that matter. Firemen, police, medics, EMTs, you guys, teachers, all you guys that are public service for that matter, that are interested in beekeeping and want to come out and do it, let us know, man. If you don't want to keep bees, but you just want to suit up with us one day and go out and work the bees, let us know. Maybe we can arrange something like that with somebody. I know some beekeepers are sketchy letting people they don't know into their yards because of theft, right? You see the work that we're putting into the amount of beekeeping that we do? The amount of work that goes into beekeeping is a lot. It's not just going out and getting the honey out of the box. This is just one step right here in getting a yard ready. I still got to build the stands. I still got to paint the boxes. Still got to get bees in the box, right? And this is for a tax exemption. They're doing it for pollination and wildlife and stuff, but they'll get an exemption, right? Which is good. I urge everybody to do it, right? If you're going to do that part, you should. You absolutely should get the exemption. If you're going to put bees on the property and make the investment, guess what? The government should pay you back, right? And I know where we're at in some parts of the Hill Country, your write-offs are huge, okay? You're talking $20,000-$30,000 a year, depending on the property. Okay, no bullshit. It's real. It's a lot of money you get right off for bees, man. Because what do? They pollinate your food, right? We need food to survive, right? What happens if our bees die and our pollinators die? Our food source dies. We die slowly. Last thing we want is a food shortage. That's the worst thing we want is a food shortage on the planet. That's basically the worst parts of the Bible, man. Food shortage, crop disease. That all goes with pollinators, man. We lose pollinators, guess what? We lose our crops. Crops start getting diseases. Unhealthy crops, man. No food. So, back to the ag exemption. Yeah, so talking with John about that, get paid for it. And don't rip off your client, man. Don't rip your client off. Make it fair. Make it fair. Make it a symbiotic relationship with you and the client too, Like, these people are really nice here. And how I found this client was through the American Legion Hall where I live. Word of mouth. They are losing their beekeeper because of personal issues or whatever. And my name was tossed out there, and this is where I'm at now. And this is fine. This is cool. This is how I wanted it to start. I've already talked with the client here about having other veterans up when possible, if necessary, to help them work bees and for therapy. And they said, absolutely, yes, 100%, we're okay with it. So, any veterans out there, but again, say you just don't want to work, say you don't want to do the process, you don't want to invest in the gear, but you want to come out and just say help and be in the yard and feel the bees, dude, that's cool. Do it. Do it. Do it. Turn this up a little bit here. So you can see, watch. See all that glue and stuff right there too, kind of burn that up a little bit. Tell me you let scrap wood sometimes too. That's alright. It works. Whatever works. Look at what we're doing here. This method is an ancient Japanese method. Forget what it's called. But the reason the Japanese did it was because so much moisture over in Japan. They would torch all their wood. Help prevent the moisture. So we got one more. Then I'm gonna do the inside of the box. So people might wax dip their frames however they're gonna do it, and people might think this is a waste of time, but I like doing it. It's therapeutic for me. I don't gotta worry about shit else except sitting here. When you burn these, you can actually see the wood seal up. This also makes the wood stronger. Not only does it take the moisture out, but it makes the wood stronger. I don't know why, but it does. Also sterilizes, and from what we talk about a lot in the beekeeping chats is that bees like the smell of burnt wood for some reason. Maybe because to them it's a sterile environment. I don't know. No clue. All I know is I like burning the boxes. I do. I enjoy sitting here doing this. I'd be doing this at my house, but no, I don't. It's the client's gear. They have it sent here, and I come to their house. The gear never leaves their house now. This gear will never leave the property. Once it's set, it's staying. That's what I'm saying. Like the model of this, right? Because from what I understand, what some beekeepers do is lease the gear, right? Okay, that's cool. Right, but when you got people out here doing tax exemptions and property exemptions, you know, once the beekeeper leaves, that gear goes with them. Like, then the property owners are kind of struggling, scrambling to get their tax exemptions, right? And I get it. So this is just how I would recommend people do it. Again, this is how I'm doing it, and people seem to be okay with it at this point. You know, I give them a shopping list of what they need. Hey, when you get the gear, let me know. I'll come out. I'll prep it. I'll get it ready for you guys, and I'll even build your yards up for you. Just pay me the hourly rate. Pay me an hourly rate. That's what I told the client. I'm not going to lease you gear. You get your own gear. You just pay me the hourly rate to come out and prep it and do the work. And client said, perfect. That's fair. That is fair. So that's, again, I'll have to do up some beekeeping service agreements, you know, just to keep everybody on the same page, which is fair also. And it's going to work. It's going to work. I've already picked up some other clients too. And once again, I would like to get as many veterans involved in this as possible. If you have taken Heroes to Hives, awesome. If you haven't, I recommend that you do. It's going to teach you just a basic foundation, guys. It's not going to teach you everything, right? It's going to teach you the very basics of beekeeping, right? Like when you got in the military, when you took on your MOS, they didn't teach you everything right away, right? They built you a foundation, right? They started you at the bottom, then they built you up, right? That's what this class does. Starts you at the bottom, builds you up to build you a foundation, and then you have to build off that foundation yourself, right? What I would recommend doing also is finding a mentor. Getting a mentor. If you can find a mentor, you're golden, man. I got a great mentor. Once again, big shout out to John and his wife Charlotte for helping me. I had a good conversation with John the other day about this, and that's how to go about it. You know what John said to me? He's like, you're going to do just fine, Rich. He's like, you're going to do just fine. You're going to make it. He's like, you're going to struggle. He's like, I'm not trying to sound like a jerk or nothing, but he's like, you're going to struggle. But he's like, you know what? You're going to make it, dude. He's like, you're going to make it, and don't even sweat it. Because I think, you know, I don't want to take on a bunch of yards. Because I have another out yard that's going to be 8 colonies. That's going to be 8 boxes. I have mine, right? And then I have a couple more that I picked up in the area here too. This yard is going to be 5, I believe. 4 or 5. I got to check the appraisal district again for it, right? I need to check the ag exemptions, the district. And then I'll have a couple other that are 2 and 2, I think. So all in all, I could be managing up to, including my own, you know, up to 30 colonies maybe, which is I'm okay with. It's not a bad thing, because in the end of the day, I'll have resources too, you know. And I've already talked to the property owners about that. Is it okay if I manage? Is it okay if I manage the rest of the bees off of the property, right? Or if I give them to veterans or whatever the case? They said absolutely yes, you can do all that too. So once I get this operation going, and again, this is all early phase, guys. All early stages right here. There's veterans that are interested in what we're doing here and want to get in on this. Let me know, because there's people out here that would like to have bees on their property and are happy to get veterans out there doing the work for them. They love having veterans on their property, man. They love it. Out here where I live, they fucking love the veterans, man. They love veterans. All right, let's check it. Insides take a little bit longer, but this is just what needs to be done, guys. Try to get the corners real good first. Those burned. Yeah, this one's soaking wet, man. And this is where you start seeing some of the sap come out of the joints and stuff. Like, I've seen it. So, yeah. I really do. This is like one of the best parts right here is burning these damn boxes. I love it. Do a little bit of ASMR wood burning for a minute.